guys, my name is Simon. I'm a co-founder of the White Band Movement, and I'm here with Remy Granchen, the real founder of the movement, in my opinion. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we're going to do a Q&A today. So questions and answers about topics we think that could be important to people who are looking to get involved with the movement.
Yeah, like the specific aim of this is sort of, if you're interested and you want to sort of go more in depth into the philosophy and the thinking and the process of how the movement works, this video is definitely for you. We're definitely tackling a lot more broader, more complex questions.
If you haven't seen all the other content we've put out yet, please go to our website, thewbm.org, and you'll definitely see how you can get involved. Some of the videos that explain a lot more basic things about the movement and our philosophies on education. So yeah.
And a lot of contacts. Yeah.
If you want to get in contact with us, if we've missed a question that we haven't answered either on our website or in this video, please give us a message either on Facebook or through our email or through Google or whatever.
Yeah,
we're just fully open to contact. In fact, that's probably
communication and discussion in that way.
It's probably like one of the most important things to us right now, that people that are interested or have concerns can talk to us.
And discuss.
That's great. So we'll get straight into it. We'll go for our first topic, which was... Okay, so I think it'd be a good idea to explain the thinking process that went into designing the movement in your head.
In my head. No, okay. Yeah, the thinking process is quite a long one because basically it didn't start off with this whole education movement, redefining education thing. Like it started way before that. And a lot of people would think that it started off with education. But really where this all originates from is a want for real substantial change in our community. Like we live in the 21st century, and it was almost like disappointing for me to see so many people trying to achieve change but never getting anywhere because of our social constructs. So I set about sort of figuring out why was this the case. And obviously the answer is we're not set up for change as a humanity. Like people don't seem to be in the right state, at least not all of us, to sort of facilitate that change. And obviously the following question after that was, okay, so if that's the real heart of the problem, how do we go about changing that? And then basically the logical conclusion, well, we're defined by education. Our mindset is defined by education. So if you want to change the mindset of humanity, we need to alter the way in which our education system works, and that will set up the foundation for that change to occur. So yeah, that was basically the thought process behind it. And then obviously following from that, well, we needed to figure out what would that education model be? What would that approach be to education? And following that again, how to actually bring that to people, being, through, our interactive model and the whole holistic thing. So yeah, cool. That's basically the process.
Back when you said, education is the key, basically, what you just said before.
Yeah.
Back when we started thinking about this at first, when Remy first introduced this idea to me, we didn't really like the word education because we found it had an association with things that typically students don't really associate with things that are good.
Yeah.
So we didn't really want to call it an education movement, but now we've kind of adopted that as a motto. We want to redefine education. We want to redefine how people think of the word itself.
Yeah, we don't want it to be a loose term anymore, a term that means so many things but nothing at the same time. We want to make it concrete and make people passionate about it and unite people in this new definition of education and get it rolling throughout the global community.
Because what you said before, I think what you said specifically was education is how you change people's mindsets. And that sounds really odd if you're talking about the context of school and university.
Yeah, because we believe basically the current idea of our education system is that is set up somehow independently of school. And although that's a really good dream to have, that everyone is already well set up when they go to school, it's not a reality. We have a lot of people that are disinterested in school. We have a lot of people that get into universities but still don't have this idea of working towards a better world. So that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to bring that style of learning and that idea of setting up a foundation first into the school system.
Okay, cool. So we'll move on to the second topic. So you just said the word foundation. So how will these foundations and this education model kind of thing that we're trying to do, how would that equate to physical, real-world change?
Okay, yeah, no, that's a very good question, and it's one that, like, if you haven't experienced it in real life, if you haven't actually seen how that affects people in real life to set up this foundation, it can be quite a hard concept to grasp and quite an idealistic concept to grasp. But I'll try to explain it. Basically, what we try to do here is set people up with the foundational skills that we know once they go on from that and partake their, go through their lifestyle and go through, getting an education or getting a job or learning, to be an engineer or something specific, that if they have had those foundational skills developed within them, they will do so with the right motto or the right idea and the right path in a sense. And those being skills such as being, healthy, being a critical thinker, not being influenced by others, being compassionate and thinking about the world. They're the sort of skills that we're talking about that we want to instill in people before they go forth and, do what they want to do in life and, find their passion and stuff like that. So that's what we mean by foundational, and that's what we believe is the mindset. That foundation is that mindset, and we believe if everyone has that mindset, then we can start working towards change because we have the foundation for change.
Yeah. So how that equates to wide scale change, in other words, is that people make up society, people make up governments, people make up institutions, people make up everything like that. And so if you change the way people think, and I know that sounds pretty odd, but if you change the way people think, you can change the way society, institutions, governments, all that work. And so that's how we more or less aim to make wide-scale change.
Because institutions they're no more than the people that make them up. And if you can change the way those people think, those people then will subsequently change the way those institutions run.
I know that sounds very, there's them and there's us kind of thing, but really how we do that is we get people involved and we show them that, this is good for you personally. That's really, if that is not the case when we implement the movement, then we have failed.
Yeah, I guess.
So I guess the next topic is, how does this White Bear movement kind of system integrate with the education systems that already exist, such as universities and schools and other educational institutions?
Yeah, so that might be sort of, that's a big question people sort of think about, is that we're already so busy in our lives with what we call education. Like if you're a student, you're doing 30 hours a week of school, that's studying not including. If you're a university student, I'm guessing it's probably more. So the key idea with how will we get this system working ourselves and how will we get people involved is more integrating this system with the current systems that are available. Because if you think about school as not very holistic, as in it has left a lot of gaps, instead of us trying to overwrite what they've done, no, what they're doing is all right, it's academic learning. But we want to fill in those gaps. And we want the schools to acknowledge that this style of education is so beneficial for the students that they would want to integrate it in their system. So that's basically the goal, that it won't become time consuming because those education, or basically we integrate our style of learning with the current styles of learning and not sort of override it and try to overpower it and I guess battle with it, because obviously that always ends in tears. So basically the key idea is integration.
So speaking of goals that you just mentioned, so obviously the movement's just beginning. This is the foundational stage, or so I call it. And so probably a good question to ask would be, what are the movement's objectives for the first, say, couple of months, first 3, 4, any
period of time. Yeah. Well, everything works differently. When you're talking about time, like time's always the same, but in terms of like a movement, time is it goes very, very fast. Change happens very, very fast. People get involved very fast. So it's sort of hard to predict in this case because it is quite upbeat, and you know every day will depend on what happened that previous day, and you know we haven't seen what has happened. Like we can't look into the future and predict. But basically, if we're talking about goals, what is the overall goal to get done in these first initial stages of the movement? It is to set up a model. It is to set up a proof. It's to prove that this system is applicable to the whole world, that it is beneficial to the whole world, and basically that's how we believe it will then progress further. Because you know it might look a bit weird because at the start it's working on a small scale, but that's the beauty of it, because on a small scale you can get things working well. You can show people this is a good model that is applicable to the rest of the world, and then other people can start applying that in their lives. So that is the real goal of the movement at the moment in these first few months, these first few critical time periods, is that to show people the benefits of this system, to show people that it can work, show people how you do apply it, show you know how it works with the community. Basically, it's about proving the worth of this theory and the idea of physical change and educational change.
Okay, cool. So obviously then that begs the question, because we live in Melbourne and this is a physical movement, so where we can physically be is going to be a limiting factor in where we can start to put up these models, if that makes sense. So what's the plan to expand beyond this city?
Okay, so the movement has different phases, because when we were going for the whole physical change thing, obviously we can't just say, oh, we're not going to use the internet or the online process whatsoever because that will subtract from the whole let's keep it physical. No, we use both because we want the movement to be dynamic, and there's a lot of different ways of going about this. And primarily it will be an online thing to spread across, but it's got to take a bit of brilliance and innovation, but it's by educating people. It's still that principle of educating people. You know, if you happen to live in Australia, or actually it's the same system in the United States as well. The whole state system, we have different states here, and obviously we can't physically connect at the moment with just say someone who lives in Sydney, the capital city that's a couple hundred k's north. So
Canberra's the capital city, by the way.
Oh, capital city of...
Oh, yeah, New South Wales.
Yeah, New South Wales. Yeah, so the way we would do it is, firstly, we want to get things working here. That is our primary goal on a physical level, using the internet as a communication tool, but really get things working here and get that proof and that justification going. But then, to branch across, if you happen to know our model, it's all about local organizers, having people that are knowledgeable about the movement, good with people, and can start up these group sessions / meetups. So basically, the way we will do it is by getting very interested individuals from far away to learn about the system, to go through the sort of skills you would need to set up on a physical basis, and then once they have that confidence to go out and truly create the movement in their state or region or city or whatever it is. And to do that, and how that would work is by, obviously with that justification, all the people in that city or region have seen how it worked in an area near them but not physically connected, and therefore the movement progresses like that. So it's an online process, but in essence it is physical. It is about creating a physical base in an area, but obviously to branch between those, we do it through communication via the internet.
And the hope is, and the dream is, that one day we'll be able to go around to these places that we want to set up, parts of the movement, and we'll actually be able to physically set up these bases rather than do it online. But obviously at the time being, we don't have the resources or the time to do so.
Yeah. But it'll all work as it goes along. It's like one step after another. We really want to secure things here and give the proofing and all that, that it can work here in Melbourne.
To start moving beyond, first of all, we have to make sure it works where we can see it.
Yeah.
So that's basically it for all the topics for this video, but I believe we'll be putting out more.
Yeah. We're every week there'll be more stuff if you want to get more in depth. The best way, if you really want to get, in depth, and if you don't happen to live near or you can't actually get in that physical interaction state, the best way is by contacting us. It can be one of us. We're always free to contact. Discussing with us, we'll show you how we're going to get this forum system working, how the resource section works. Always feel free to ask questions. We want as many people discussing with us because therefore our philosophy will develop as holistically and dynamically as possible, because this is an open philosophy. This is open source. This is not just our beliefs and trying to just only pursue that. No, this is about getting everyone involved to create a holistic philosophy.
Yeah, definitely. So subscribe to this channel, go to our website, thewbm.org, all of that good
all of
stuff.
that, yeah, I'm sure it's all very interactive.
Yeah.
You'll find your way around. Cool.
So we'll see you around.
Cool. Thanks.
And if you're in Melbourne, come to a meetup or a group session, I guess.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
See you later.
Bye.